Hello. Welcome to
Hi.
episode 3. Okay, Karen,
Okay, Karen.
with Betsy and Angela. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about our best and worst trips that we have been on.
According to Angela's best, worst, and worst.
Yeah, these are my best and worst.
Yes.
Betsy and I have traveled to a lot of places. How many states together?
We have been to 32 states together, traveling together. And we have been to 5 different countries outside of the United States.
Wow. Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Betsy has been to all 50 states.
I have.
And I have been, and DC, and I have been to 44 states and DC. So, but together 32, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, those of you who can't see, and if you don't know, this is a podcast, yes, and we're on Spotify, and we hope to get on iHeart.
It just takes a little while.
But we're also on YouTube because Jenny wants to see us. Jenny, again, love you.
We're doing it for Jenny.
So today I am wearing my Ciao Bella shirt from Italy, which that trip was in 2007?
Oof. I don't know.
2007. Because I
graduated
It was
in
PA
December.
School.
It was in December.
Yeah.
2007. Very good.
And we came back in 2008.
I had to look at my book here, my quote book that has the list of the trips and the dates and the people that were on them.
I just remember I was a PA for a year. That was my first big trip after I started my big girl job, also known as my career.
I was teaching, not in my regular job.
So, obviously, my best trip, we'll just go straight into it.
It may not be
was Italy
to everyone.
Well, it was the first big trip.
Okay.
It was international.
International, sure.
It was, there was 13 of us that went. I knew you. Yeah. I knew you and your sister and your brother, Chris.
And Matt.
And then Katie,
Katie.
My good friend from she lives in Hattiesburg now, but we were roommates in PA school.
Katie Anderson.
Katie came on the trip, but no, that's what I met Matt Bauer.
Really?
On the trip. Yes, I did not know Matt prior to the trip. Yeah.
One of our big travel
after that, pretty much every year we have gone on a trip, and Bauer's gone on a lot of them too.
Yeah.
But there were some close contenders. Ireland was great. Ireland was kind of a girls' trip. There were 5 of us that went, I think. Alaska was a wonderful trip. That was my 30th birthday.
I'm glad you said Alaska too.
Yeah, that was a great birthday. We kind of owned the cruise ship. Basically.
We did.
They knew, everyone that worked on the cruise ship knew we were part of Betsy's group.
What's the guy's name? The guy who leads all the entertainment stuff?
I do not know his name, but I have a picture with him. Andy. Was his name Andy?
But he's like the entertainment director of everything, and he thanked me. Thanks, Betsy, for bringing all the crazy people.
Yeah, on Alaska, that was a good trip.
We made an impression on that cruise.
Belize was okay when we got to the resort.
Yes.
Sorry, Betsy, did not enjoy your city.
And Guatemala was not your favorite.
Did not. It was 115 degrees. That was without heat index.
Yeah.
I was sweating in places that I have never sweated in before and never have done it again. It was disgusting. And no need for makeup on that trip. It was terrible.
When you mentioned bringing your flat iron and you asked if I had a hairdryer, I said, you don't need to bring either one of those things.
No.
You're probably not going to wear makeup. And you did not believe me. But then when you were there, you said, why would I put makeup on? Because it's all going to melt right off. So
now I don't think it was just melting off my face within a minute of stepping outside. It was
so out of the international trips, we have Italy, Canada, Belize, Guatemala, and Ireland. Belize and Guatemala were the same trip.
Yeah.
That was because I was living year round down there as a volunteer teacher. So Angela came down to visit me. I don't think
With
the trip would have looked the same had we just planned just a vacation getaway. We probably just would have gone to the beach the whole
no,
time.
because tourists don't go to where you were. There's no need
really.
to. Why would you? No
Well,
one would go then.
There's some like Mayan ruins and some caves and pretty cool.
Oh, okay. The Mayan ruins. Okay. We climbed up this big hill or this big mountain of rocks that your mama said, I can't believe y'all did that. Well, it's a little cooler up there. It might be 113 instead of 115.
There's a little bit of a breeze up there. Yeah.
And then we had to climb down.
So this brings us to the tip for today. So the travel tip we're going to give you in this episode is that you really need to know your travel partner or group that you are going on a trip with, especially if you're the one in charge of planning. But it's very, very, very important to know what this person's going to enjoy, what their breaking
what they're not going to enjoy.
I hate to say the breaking point, but I feel like Belize and Guatemala was your breaking point. And that was after the Southwest trip, which I thought was your breaking point. The Grand Canyon, hiking Grand Canyon was your breaking point.
I cried. Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. But that's a tip. So let's keep that in mind for this episode.
I took a shower,
you need to know your travel partner.
In Belize, and I could have just slept in the shower, in the cold shower. Y'all had no hot water, which was fine. Who needs hot water? 115 degrees, people. You gave me this rag when we got down there.
Like a handkerchief.
And I was like, why do I need this? And you said, it's a sweat rag. A sweat rag. And then later I'm like, just mopping my face up because it is just miserable. Sorry if I'm offending any Belizeans or Guatemalans.
No, they know.
But y'all need
how
some air conditioning. Yeah.
I'm sure they would like it if they could afford it, Angela. If they could get it, they would love it.
I'm going to tell you something.
I'm going to shout out Matt Bauer right now. And Bauer. I hate that we might actually have to, let him know that we're talking about this because I'm sure he's definitely going to use it against me to make fun of me, but that we're doing a podcast.
He's going to be so jealous.
I have to say that Matt and Angela came down to Belize to visit with me at the same time, and we traveled around. We went to Guatemala. We went out to the island. We had a great time, and I'm going to say that Matt, who is a white boy from Southern Illinois, handled the heat better than Angela did. We were all a little surprised, but he did his fair share of complaining. Don't get me wrong, because he's a complainer. Just to annoy me. He complains all the time just to annoy me. But I have to say, Angela, you have to admit it that Matt handled it a little better than you did.
And also, if you don't know, I'm a tad bit of a diva and a princess. So
the whole podcast is worth it to hear you admit that.
Hey, I know me.
The princess cabin.
Princess cabin was where I slept with Beth and
Lisa.
We shared a cabin, and everyone came into our cabin because it was nice. It's
not a cabin on the cruise.
On the cruise, yeah.
The cruise.
It smelled good.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
And it was those three girls, and they called it Princess Cabin.
So I own me, and Belize and Guatemala. When we got to the resort in Belize, that was the nice part.
Yeah,
that was it.
She said, I will come visit you again down here, Betsy, but you have to meet me at the resort. I'm not coming to where you live.
Not going to your city ever again.
Yeah. And it was the hottest part of the year when y'all came to visit, which was, again, poor planning on my part. It was when the timing worked out, for people to come visit because I had time off school. It was the week after Easter. It was Holy Week. But it literally is the hottest part of the year down there. And so if I was planning better, I would have figured out a way to have my travel partners come, at a time that would work better for them. And
now, what you did plan, you did a great job planning the timing of our Northwest trip because the leaves were changing. We met in Vermont, Northeast. Yeah, we met in Vermont, went up through those states up there, Maine into Canada, and that was really nice. That was a good job.
Yes. And we met some other things that you wanted to see, which was the lighthouses.
The lighthouses.
So that was
a success.
for
It
knowing
was.
my
It
my travel
was.
partner was the
Yeah. That's
not
all
for
I
Matt.
needed to see.
Matt did not get to see a moose, did he? Oh,
A
we did see a
moose.
moose. Was that
Not
that
on
trip or a
that
different
trip.
one? Okay.
We went on
So
a
Matt
different
did
one
not
and we
get to
saw
see
it.
a moose.
Yeah.
I did not get to see a whale, but I did
But
meet
that
Angela's
didn't bother me.
lighthouse
Yeah. I
fixation.
didn't really care about the moose. And we saw whales in Alaska, remember? So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let's get to our first, or my best, which is Italy. If you don't know, I'm Italian in my heritage. Well, actually Sicilian, but we say Italian. My mom's side and dad's side. So to me, Italy was like home. It was everything. It was the food. It was the wine. That's why I started drinking wine
Me
in
too. Me
Italy.
too. I never really was a huge fan of wine, a big wine drinker, and then we came back and I was
No,
like, I could
I
drink some
like it.
wine now.
But their wine on the table, they have like what they call it table wine, was delicious. And it was red and it was so good. It was cheaper than water or Cokes. So I think I had one Coke in Italy and it was quite a bit. And that was when I went to Florence in Italy. And then, but other than that, I drank water or wine and loved it. And had gelato every day.
I was about to say that every day, sometimes twice a day. I mean,
so
you just have
good.
to. It's well worth
And
it.
then
That's what I saved my money for.
Yeah, then we had pizza or pasta dish every day. And people, listen to this. I lost 10 pounds.
Love that. I love that.
Yes. So what's not to love? It's the best trip.
Yeah.
But it
now
really,
I have to say that you can't just anyone plan on going to Italy and losing 10 pounds because you're going to be eating a lot. You're going to be drinking a lot. It's just the food is great. And that's
good.
a big part of the trip is like, our meals, we'd sit down for a meal and be there an hour or two at the restaurant.
And you and Jeremy, I guess y'all had the restaurants picked out. I really don't know how y'all did it.
So Jeremy speaks a little Italian. He's also, his family heritage is from Italy. And so we would go earlier in the day and just kind of go to a restaurant that looked good, kind of look at their menu and say, we have a group of 15.
Yeah, 13
people,
of us.
15 was the cruise. 13 of us that would like to come, and kind of just pick out some things on the menu. This was, I think, another reason that you liked it is because Jeremy would kind of say, okay, we'll do this for pasta, we'll do this, and kind of everybody was okay with it, which was really nice.
It was family style, so they just brought stuff and and I don't know what I was eating, except it was delicious. Yeah. That's all I know.
So what I'm saying is you can't go expecting to lose weight when you're in Italy. The reason why Angela lost weight is because we were up every day walking from like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We were like busy.
Right.
Like, we're going to be in Italy. Who knows we're going to be back. We are going to see everything we can possibly see and go. And because of that,
it wasn't walking that we were so exhausted. I mean, I do remember coming home and we were ready for bed at 9-10 o'clock. You are walking down these streets and you turn the corner and there's the Roman ruins.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that you're walking a mile or 2 or 10 because the sights they're just so beautiful. I remember turning a corner and at the end of the street was the Colosseum. And I thought, wow, we're definitely not in the USA. So nice.
Also, a side note, Angela decided she was going to learn some Italian before we went.
Buongiorno.
But then there were times where she didn't know why the Italians were looking at her weird. Like they were looking at her strangely. And she's like, I don't know why they're looking at me like that. I said buongiorno. And
your brother to this day greets me every time he sees me, buongiorno, with a Southern Italian accent. And I'm like, that's not what I sound like, but whatever.
It doesn't matter. It's pretty close.
Yeah. And it really was a great trip. And in that trip, we started in Rome. Then so 13 of us went. 11 of y'all went to, where did y'all go? Assisi. And
Mhm.
Katie and I went to Florence. And then we stayed in Florence a couple days and then met y'all in Siena. And I did not know this, but the boys on the trip took a bet to see if they would even see us again the rest of the trip, which is not nice.
There was a bet to see if you guys were going to make it back on time, because there was a lot of discussion about what train y'all were supposed to get on, and then you had to
It was
transfer
a
trains
mess.
and go to a different train. And I
Yeah.
remember saying goodbye to you guys when you were on your way to Florence, and I just was like,
I
it was
remember
like when
you telling us, Angela, from Rome to Florence, the third stop, get off. That's Florence. And I said, okay, this isn't hard. We get on and we stop 1, we stop 2, we stop 3 in Firenze. This isn't Florence.
That's why
And
I told you, because they have
yes.
the names in Italian because you're in Italy.
But if you don't know, people, Florence is not Florence in Italy. It is called Firenze. So
And Rome is called Roma.
well, you can get that. But Firenze and Florence. So Katie and I stopped in Florence for, I think it was 2 days.
Yeah.
And you know how we ordered when we went out to a restaurant? We just looked around and we said, that looks good. We'll take what they're having. Because it was a small mom and pop kind of restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
They had, they didn't speak much English, and
right.
Hello, buongiorno was my Italian.
Yeah. And once you get outside of pretty major areas, you got to kind of piece it together and figure out, point at something on the menu. But you could get by as long as you know the town you're supposed to.
Yeah. It was so weird because when we were getting back on the train to meet y'all in Siena, everyone just rushes the train. There's no lines. So Katie and I, we were just
all
like,
of Italy.
Yes,
driving,
no
everything. It's just you
just rush to when we went to communion at church. Everyone just runs up to communion. And there's no, this pew goes and this. No. Get up there, people.
I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it with social distancing. It's like we think it's weird waiting 6 feet before the next person in front of you goes up for communion at church. I don't know what they're doing over there.
There's no telling. But then we met in Siena. Siena was beautiful. Siena, when we met, it was New Year's Day, so we had to carry our luggage with us.
Yes, this was upsetting.
That was poor planning a little bit.
Well, yeah, I didn't. So the plan was
to call y'all out.
Luggage. The plan was Jeremy and I decided we'd just leave our luggage in the storage lockers at the train station. No problem. And then we'd see Siena for the day. We got there in the morning, see it for the day, hop on the train and go back to Rome. And we had our bags with us Angela from Florence and the rest of us had been in Assisi. And we get there and the luggage lockers are closed because it's New Year's holiday. And I'm like, but we just put our little euros in, right? Like, why would that be closed? And so we literally had nothing to do with our luggage and
except carry it.
And Siena is very hilly. Very
it's
hilly.
Just straight up and down, y'all.
And I will never forget, there were 2 or 3 people from our group out of 13 that had little carry-on suitcases with the wheels. And it's
your brother was one of them.
All cobblestone, right?
Yes. So it was like blah, 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 blah.
All day. I was like, there's no way to avoid looking like a tourist. We are coming. Yeah. You can hear us coming. Here we come.
But Siena was it was a cool, it really was. And when I watch some Hollywood movies, I think of Siena because, are you there? Sorry. Are you there? Yeah. Yep, sorry, my bad. Good. I think of Siena, the way the cobblestone, the hills, and it was beautiful, Yeah. It really was beautiful. And then Siena, we all go to the store, the train station, and get back on the train to go back to Rome. And we're taking up a couple cars. What do they call?
Yeah. Cars.
And someone's like, I got us a bottle of wine. Yeah. And then I'm like, I bought 2 bottles. and
somebody
Bauer has
else.
2 bottles.
Yeah.
So we had a fun time on that train.
So we were all thinking the same. Great minds think alike. We're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll grab a couple bottles of wine for the group. Yeah. So we went through a lot of bottles of
A
wine
lot
on
of
that.
bottles
Like,
of wine.
what was it? Like a 3 hour, 2 or 3 hour?
Something like that.
I mean,
Back to Rome.
we were pretty freaking obnoxious. We were obnoxious Americans. Nobody else stayed in the car with us.
No,
Everybody
we
was
had
gone.
2 cars. Like, remember some of y'all were doing each other's hair, and then some of us were just rowdy. And I was not doing the hair one. I was the rowdy one.
It was a very fun train ride for sure.
Yes.
And my cousin Carrie, poor thing,
Oh,
still did not have her luggage. Her luggage got lost on the way over. And we were in Rome a couple of days and it still hadn't shown up. And then we were like trying to lend her stuff. You know, she just had her carry-on bag from the flight over. And we're like, well, we're going to go. I mean, we were going to go to Assisi for a couple of days. And she's like, well, screw it. I'm just going to go. I'm not going to sit around and like miss a trip. We'll just figure it out. But it was cold. I mean,
it was December, January. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So luckily she had her coat, but it was. But that happens.
And then when we got back to Rome,
roll with it.
She had her luggage then. And we stayed another couple days in Rome.
And she almost started crying when she got her luggage. I think that was almost her breaking point.
Probably.
You didn't come near your breaking point in Italy.
No, Rome was
just loving life.
It was so great. I could go back to, I mean, I couldn't go back tomorrow because I have a big surgery tomorrow, but I could go back to Rome anytime.
I think that being one of the earliest big trips that we did.
It was the first big trip we did. Because like I said, that's when I met Bauer.
Yes. But we had done other little things. Like you came to Ohio to visit us, me and Teresa, when we were in college.
In college, yeah.
And a couple little things like that. Maybe you'd come to Texas, or I'm not sure. But this being like one of the first or the first major trip for us is what prompted you to trust me to plan other trips. And then shortly thereafter, I failed you.
Well, I would just say, I want to go here, Betsy, and you would plan it. Okay, let's go. You'd get a group together. Sometimes I knew the people, sometimes I didn't. And then we come to the worst trip.
So here's the order here. We had this was in 2007 in December was Italy. Then we had the next October of 2008 was the Northeast. And that was,
Betsy's kidney transplant trip.
Yes, I was going to Vermont anyway to donate a kidney. So I was like, hey, Angela and my cousin Matt, why don't y'all just come and we'll go see these states that we've never been to, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, because it was a fall.
Go up into Canada.
It was gorgeous. There was a few things that Angela, it wasn't her favorite. But for the most part, the
trip went really well. The motel that the 12-year-old boy was running that had rats in it?
And there were some rodent problems.
In the hotel walls, people. I could hear it while I was trying to sleep.
And then 1 year after that, so this would be the third year, and our third major trip was the Southwest trip. And I'll let Angela take the wheel on this,
which brings me to the worst trip that I've ever been on.
And remember our tip is know your travel partners. Okay,
so the Southwest trip, Betsy said, hey, there's a group of us. We're going to fly into Vegas and we're just going to go around some canyons and just have a good time. So I was excited.
And camping. Yeah. I didn't hide that from you, that we were tent camping.
You didn't. Well, tent, I might not have heard that word. I don't know.
How did you think I had a camper I was flying with?
I mean, you can rent those things.
Okay.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm. But you had your sleeping bag. You had your brother's sleeping bag.
Yes. I told my mom and dad, hey, I'm going to go on this trip. And do you know what they said?
Why?
Why would you do that? See, they know me. And I said, well, it's going to be fun. No.
Betsy's planning it. She's planned 2 great trips so far.
No. There were 6 of us. Betsy, myself, Matt Bauer, John Bauer came for a second. Beth came for a second. And Aaron Percy came.
Yeah.
And I knew I was in trouble when we met Aaron at the airport, and he has these huge bags full of like frying pans, wool blankets, And I'm thinking,
An axe?
huh, an axe, people. And I'm like, oh, I have my Clinique and I have my shower stuff and my hair, my shampoo and conditioner.
Which all of which had to be stored in a bear box anyway. Because
In a bear box. I actually looked, could I fit in the bear box? Because I was so scared of bears.
So
Do
I
you
have
know
to
the
say,
best part of that trip?
when we got to Vegas to fly out.
When I was leaving. Yes, that was the best
Okay.
part of that trip.
Now you saw some pretty amazing things, but first I want to tell you this. This is when I realized we were going to have a problem. We are on the same flight to Vegas where we got a rental van and we drove around to several national parks, beautiful, beautiful things. And Angela will tell you that that's true. The Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, Zion, just, it was amazing. Death Valley, you like Death Valley. But
I
on the
didn't.
flight over, now I had told Angela she had a sleeping bag. I asked about a mat that keeps the cold out, like a thermal mat thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but if you're getting one, to get me one too. And I said, okay, well, I'll just get you one. I'm ordering them, whatever. So I got one.
I
for
said,
both of
get
us.
whatever you get me, and I'll just reimburse you.
Yeah. So we got
everything,
because
I didn't know what I'm doing, obviously.
And which is, for sleeping on the ground when the ground is really cold. And Angela, thank God I got her this because the ground was below freezing almost.
If you came off that little thin mat, you were instantly awake. Like, it was so cold, you were just, it was someone poured ice water on you.
And the ground feels harder when it's cold, which I was just looking at the quotes. And one of Angela's quotes is, in the first morning when we got up, she's like, I feel like the ground beat me up last night.
My body felt so bruised. It was miserable.
And it was physically a lot, that trip, because we did a lot of hiking and stuff. So anyway,
we did too
this
much.
Is when I realized that
too much.
We may have an issue. We're on the flight and we're flying to go to Vegas, get the van, meet everybody. Angela and I are on the same flight. We're sitting by each other. And I say something, I don't remember what. And Angela says, well, I've never camped before. And I said, what do you mean you've never camped before? You tell stories about how you went camping with your family when you're young. And she goes, in a camper with a bathroom? Mm-hmm. I've never slept on the ground. And I was like, Angela, are you freaking kidding me? This is not going to be good. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're tent camping, honey. This is going to be, and I did promise her that there would be access to showers. But
every day,
you put quarters in and their time.
No. And remember that man that it was $2 for 5 minutes. And I said, what? I said, I have to shampoo and condition my hair. And he goes, $2 for 5 minutes. So I slapped like a 5 down and I was like, I'm going to need 4 minutes. 10 minutes. It was, and then
it was just
it was so many new things. You always start at first, turned on your water in your stall.
Yeah.
So, and I counted to like 10. So I knew when your water shut off, I should almost be done. But I would just stand in the shower with no cold water on, just hot, like soaking it up because I was so cold.
And sore. And it was so cold in the tents. We were cold. Yeah. The guys were hot. It was such a weird situation. I don't care about them.
I didn't care about them at all. It was so cold.
But
bless Aaron's heart. One time I remember Beth and I just shivering, and Aaron Percy just dropped some wool blankets on us. And it was probably how the people felt a long time ago when God gave a manna from the sky. It was so nice.
A lot of firsts and a lot of things that Angela had no idea, had never heard these words before.
PTSD is coming back now.
Okay, so one would be switchbacks.
Yeah.
Switchbacks.
Okay, if you don't know what that is, people, you don't go straight up a mountain, like vertical straight up. No. Why would you do that?
That would be impossible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So instead, you go side to side to side to side, and you want to kill yourself. I don't know what side. I don't,
You
going
come around a
down is no
corner,
better than going up because
you
it
come,
never stops.
you come around a corner and just see the back and forth on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And Angela's like, I'm like, oh, switchbacks. And she's like, she'd never heard this word. The other one was pit toilet.
Yeah.
Pit
Okay. Let
toilet.
me tell you what that is like. If you're lucky, it's its own little building and has a toilet that just goes straight down to the ground. So hold your breath, hold your bladder as long as you can so you don't have to go in there that much.
But you should be drinking water if you're hiking a lot. So there you go. What are you going to do?
It's tough. Yeah.
It is.
So
there was a lot of
so
new
bad.
things. This is why Angela's family was wondering what she was thinking. There was a night that we attempted to share a sleeping bag, which was pretty funny.
That was in Yosemite, I think.
Yeah.
When it was 24 degrees, your sister was worried about us too that night. Do you remember her calling the next day and she said, it was so cold, I was worried about y'all. Was anyone else? No. I don't know. But
I don't know, but you have never been so thankful to Aaron Percy and his axe and his camping, I don't know what, expertise. And he hiked up ahead of us. He got a fire ready. He made us dinner. We were just like, Aaron, we love you. And all of your
now
friends.
let's stop there because that's in Yosemite. When we pulled into Yosemite, they had a sign that said, and this is October that we're going. As of this date this year, there have been over 370 bear sightings in the campsite. So quickly in my head, I am doing math and I'm thinking, that's more than one bear sighting a day.
I think in the whole park. I don't know that it was the campground, but yes, they do have signs like that to make people aware.
And then they have these terrible pictures that are these cars are mauled because people left food
Windows
or something
broken.
that smelled. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if they can do that to a car, what can they do to me?
Yeah.
So
and we're in a tent.
Yeah, we're in a tent, which is nothing. And then the boys are like, I'm so hungry. Let's cook. No, let's not cook. Here's some dried apple slices. Let's eat this tonight. It was, I did not want to bring anything to smell.
The bear boxes were actually in all the campsites. Now, if you're listening to this and you live in bear country, this is like no big deal, right? This is just how you camp. But if you're from somewhere like Mississippi or Texas where we don't deal with bears, like having bear boxes and bear sightings is pretty foreign to us, and so it is a little like surprising. And then when we camped at a more rustic wilderness site that night with Aaron and he got there ahead of us, do you remember where we kept our stuff that night? Because they don't have bear boxes.
No, I don't.
You take your whole bag of your backpack, everything you have in it, food, everything, and you attach it to a rope. And then they have like a little pulley thing and you tie it up so it hangs up above a tree. And that's where you put your stuff so the bears can't get it. And then you just go to sleep in your little tent.
Mm-hmm.
Just
the last Aaron Percy. So when we got to Yosemite, that was the last place we went. Not everyone was there. I think John and Beth had already left.
Yes.
We started in Grand Canyon, which I'm going to tell y'all, there's signs everywhere that says, do not go down and up in the same day. Hey, follow those signs. We didn't. I don't know why we didn't.
We didn't go all the way down. We said
we'll go as far as we were running out of time.
We said we'll go as far as we want, and then we'll turn around and come back up.
Yeah.
And we watched the time. They said expect whatever it took you going down, expect to double that time going up, which it didn't take us nearly that long. It's double. But
actually, you would think going down would be easy. No, it's not easy. It's hard on your legs. Yes. And when we got back to the top, because do you remember starting the Grand Canyon? We're all in sweatshirts and it was cold. Then we start peeling them off. When we got back to the top of the Grand Canyon, do you remember what I did? I cried.
Crying?
Yeah.
And you said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done.
in my life. Yeah.
I just remember when we were walking up, you said, if there was a hotel, I would pay $1,000 a night for all of us to stay there. for as many
No,
rooms.
I told them, I said, I will pay for your own rooms. Everyone can have their own rooms. And the
But
boys all said, oh no, this is great. This is so
there's
much
no
fun.
hotels.
Yeah. I threw away the clothes that I
Yeah.
hiked the Grand Canyon in.
They were really, it just got really dirty.
It was so gross, y'all. And then we went to.
Wait, I want to say something about Grand Canyon, and correct me if I'm wrong. And we're not super big hikers. I do enjoy hikes, but I like to see things on the hikes, and that's one of the reasons why Yosemite hiking was a lot nicer for us. Grand Canyon was just pretty painful hiking down and up. The rim was amazing and beautiful sights. I would recommend anybody going to do a hike along the rim, a couple miles, and see some sights that are up at the top, and you kind of stay at the top level. Because that's really where you see the most beautiful things.
Yeah.
Hiking
There's
down,
no need to go down.
It's just
because then remember
a lot of effort and not a lot of
were there
reward.
horses or donkeys that
Mules,
went down? So then you had to watch out for poop, and then it was just not fun.
So that's my recommendation. If I went again, and if Angela went with me.
No, if I go again, I'm taking a helicopter.
We would just stay at the top, and we would see the beautiful views and take pictures at the top.
And I would not stay in a tent. I wouldn't do a tent. We'd find someplace. Then we went to Zion, and we just drove through Zion. We didn't stay in Zion.
Yep. And Bryce.
And then Bryce, I will give Bryce this. It was pretty. That's it. I still had to sleep in a tent. I still had to deal with Pitt.
It was very pretty.
It's an unusual canyon. The peaks or whatever those little and the color. Like, we woke up early to watch the sunrise, and I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
The day after the Grand Canyon, none of us could even walk,
except John Bauer was doing.
He was doing freaking jumping jacks and running around
and like flips and stuff, and I wanted to poke him.
We all would get out of the van because we had a drive day after that to drive, pretty far, and it was like that was not good planning because we were so sore every time we got out of the van. We were walking around. We did see the Hoover Dam, which was pretty neat.
Yeah, that was nice.
We went to Angela's favorite of the national parks, which
Death Valley
is Death Valley. On this trip, her favorite one.
Mom was so worried, and look, that's a very loose, favorite. I wouldn't even go there. It was out of those wherever we went, it was the least worst. Let's say that.
And I think honestly, the tent camping and because it was so cold are big factors in that. Because we've been to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, and I think if we would have gone to Yosemite in the summer months or something like that and not been in a tent, you would have had a whole different experience.
Because Yellowstone, we stayed in I actually thought, why am I going to Yellowstone? I hated the Southwest trip.
So much to see there.
But Yellowstone, we stayed in a cabin, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
It's a cabin.
So tell us about Death Valley.
Death Valley was warm. It was kind of humid. It was
the people in our group were dying because it was so hot, sleeping in a tent, and the guys were like taking their shirts off to go to sleep. And Angela and I are just like, this feels great.
It was that's the only place that you said, do I need to go with you to the shower place?
I always went to the bathroom and shower with Angela. She didn't want to go by herself, and
in different stalls, people.
Because mostly just walking there because of bears.
Yeah. Bears
and the
predator. All kinds of wildlife. Yeah. And Death Valley, I said,
the murderers,
no, I got it.
The serial killers that hang out at national parks.
Now,
all those fears.
When I said I was going to Death Valley, my mom was like, "Oh, I don't like it. I don't like that." But Death Valley was, like I said, the least worst out of all the places.
Okay. Yeah. And then we went to Yosemite.
We dropped John and Beth off.
We dropped them
back in Vegas
before Death Valley, I think.
Yeah, and I wish I would have stayed in Vegas.
Yeah. So Yosemite,
but I didn't.
Yosemite hiking was a lot prettier than Grand Canyon. Again, we just didn't do it right in Grand Canyon. We were just kind of like hiking to hike, and it was really like not a lot of reward and a lot of effort. So Yosemite, though, it was like there's waterfalls and, now hiking at night wasn't great, but the daytime when you could see
The
stuff was
last
really fun.
hour to where Aaron left, and like I said, that was our last place. So I kind of knew, okay, an hour, we are going this distance,
We're almost
and
there. Yeah.
we figured out quick, we're not going to make it to that middle place before the sun sets. And sure enough, Aaron took off. And then Betsy, Matt, and myself are behind him because we're getting everything else together. And we start hiking and we realize we're not going to make it there before dark. But we couldn't get in touch with Aaron because he was already gone. He was an hour ahead of us. And the last hour was pitch dark. When you're worried about bears. And at this point, I don't even care about a snake. Come get me. Take me out of my misery.
And that's saying a lot because
yes.
Angela has some real issues with snakes. So
that's my phobia, people. But
yeah.
I didn't even think about a snake. It was too cold. There's no snakes around there.
That's
It's
true.
bears and other wildlife that I wasn't even worried about a Jason or a Freddy. Again, come take me out of my misery at this point.
So we had Yosemite and then we headed back to Vegas to fly out, and we were in Vegas for one night.
Yes, it was the best night of the trip.
And I just remember we were walking on the strip. We went into this like kind of mall area because there was a gelati shop that we were going to go get
Gelato, people. It's so good if you've never experienced it.
And we were like, oh, where is it? We kind of paused, the people who normally are leading the group that are like looking at a brochure or looking at the map or something. And Angela goes straight to the front and it was like, I got this, y'all. This is where, what did you say?
I said,
this is my domain.
Civilization, because everyone is like, oh, the lights, it's so bright.
It was
I'm like,
so loud.
Thank you, God.
After being in national parks for a week and tent camping, and then you get to Vegas, it's just so many people and so much noise and so much lights that we were all kind of like, oh, this is like overload. And Angel's like, I got this. This is my domain.
Follow me.
So she just took over. And she led us through Vegas, and it was her favorite part of the trip.
And I had never
we were
been
there
to
like
Vegas.
14 hours.
Yeah. And guess what? They had running water, and they had toilets that flushed, and they had electricity. It was wonderful.
It is pretty bad when you get like on the plane to go home and the plane seats feel really comfortable. You're like, it's been a rough trip. So no more tent camping. That's one of the things that we have agreed
Actually, after that, it took me,
tent camping.
If you remember, every year you planned a trip, I said, where are we sleeping? Like that was,
So the next one after that was the Northwest, was Oregon and Washington and Alaska.
Oh yeah, that was my 30th.
And we did camp a little bit in Oregon and Washington, but we stayed in yurts.
We stayed in a yurt.
We didn't do tent camping. So for Angela, and it worked out well because we didn't want to bring all the tent stuff with us anyway.
Although, do you remember
when we went on?
So y'all, that's for me. That's a lot. We're going camping a little bit, then we're going on a cruise. Where one night of the cruise is dress up nice with the captain dinner. Yeah. And I remember the guys helping me with my luggage, and because obviously it's really heavy. And they said, how many pairs of shoes? You said, you knew it. How many pairs of shoes did you bring? It was a lot. I don't need to say the number.
I didn't know if you remembered. I didn't remember.
I think it was like 13 or something.
And I had probably 3.
And Bauer
sandals,
said,
dress shoes, and hiking boots.
Bauer said he said, I think I only have 2 pairs of shoes. But
I think I only own. I think so because when he came to visit me in Texas, he bought sandals down here because he didn't own any.
Oh, and really?
You should probably have some because we're going to be like at the beach, and also it's really hot.
Right.
So I'm sure he owns more than 2 pairs now because his wife,
because he's married.
We'll help him out with that.
Right. So. But that was fun because we went to and saw Forks. That was big twilight. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Of course,
I
that was so
forgot about
cheesy.
that. We saw the
And we
Goonies
saw the
house.
Goonies house. Yeah.
Yeah, the beach there was
Um,
so different than ours in the Gulf. It was interesting. It was good to see the Pacific, because I'm
it
used to
was
seeing the Atlantic more.
right.
Okay, so we have mostly talked about Italy, your best trip
Uh-huh.
that we have gone on together, your favorite, I should say, and
It was my favorite.
Southwest, which was your least favorite.
By far worst.
Okay,
By
so of
far.
those two, what would be your takeaway? Like, what would you tell people if they're going to Italy? What would you tell them? This is what you need to do. This is what you need to see, or this is what you should remember. What would you tell
Well,
people for
we
Italy?
did the tourist stuff, and
Yes,
we're Catholic, so I think we went to every Catholic
it's
church.
like
Not
Catholic
really, but
Disneyland.
we hit it up, and that's no part of me, my
Yes.
heritage, my religion. So it really, everything in Italy was, there was nothing I did not like in Italy except leaving
Okay.
it. Southwest, just there's no need to do that, people.
There's no reason to see the Grand Canyon. You would tell
I
people not
mean,
even go.
well, you can drive by it. How about that?
You can't get out of the car, take a picture.
You could stop, get out and take a picture, get back in the car and
Okay.
go to a hotel. Or now a friend of mine they rented a helicopter, and
Yes.
I would do that if I went next
Okay.
time. Of course, I
I
have
would
no idea how much that is.
say, and this is going to be some of my other tips later for our next episode when we do another tip, travel tip, because this travel tip is know the people you're going with, know what's going to be their breaking point, know what they'd be interested in, those kind of things, so that you have expectations, you have attainable goals for your trip. So Italy, I would say, to figure out what your priority is. Italy is one of the places, like Ireland, we realize, where you can just pack so many things and want to see everything while you're there, that you kind of lose sight and don't have time to enjoy stuff. So I would say for Italy, what's your priority? Like, what are
But
the things you're going there
I
for?
feel like we enjoyed. I don't feel like
We did,
Italy
but
was
because
so packed.
we did that. We had the priorities of, like, okay, this is what's important to us.
Yeah,
Because
right.
we could have
Because we
spent,
even
Angela,
did that.
we maybe went to like one museum, and there's just so much stuff.
Well, we
There's
went
so
to the
many
big
things.
one. We went to the Vatican and saw the Sistine Chapel.
Right, but there's just so
And
much
did
to
that
do.
really quick because it's so
Yeah,
it's so big.
you could spend like 3 days there. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And some people might say, yeah, I want to spend 3 days there. This is where my interest is. So I would
Right.
say make sure you have a priority for that. And then Southwest, I would say do the Grand Canyon, the national parks in the Southwest area the way that you want to do that. So like my parents, I said, however you end up staying, if they got an Airbnb,
Smart.
they spent
Good
like
move, Mr. and Mrs. Hess.
they stayed,
I should have gone with y'all.
they stayed, and they went to the rim, they went to the beautiful overlook parts, and they did, like, a 1 or
Yeah,
2
we
mile
didn't do
hike
any of that.
along the top where there's just like
No.
casually looking at the Grand
You
Canyon.
can stop talking about that because I am so jealous.
Okay.
I mean, not
so
really.
That's what I mean. So that's
so
what
much
I mean.
better than our trip.
Look at how do you want to experience it that's going to work for you and the people you're traveling with, because that's really important. Because some people I know would say, yeah, for sure, I'm going to hike every day when I go to the Grand Canyon. I'm going to do this and this and this, and this is really important. I want to do like a raft thing on the Colorado River, things like that. Whereas like that's a completely different experience. So know why you're going and what you want to see when you're there, because both of those things, like, of course there's value in going to see the Grand Canyon. You're crazy, Angela. You would tell people to go see it. You just tell them to do it very different than how you did it.
So, and I've done it. I don't need to go back. I mean, maybe if I get married and I really, really like my husband and he really wants to go, but he's going to.
If you get married and you really, really like him, are you going to marry somebody you don't really, really like?
And he really, really wants to go. I mean, if he just really wants to go, we don't really need to go then.
You're going to be like, you can go with someone else. I don't have to go with you.
I'll let you talk to Mr. and Mrs. Hess.
How about you go with your friends and then you come home and next year we'll go to Italy together.
Or he can go there and I'll go to Italy.
Okay, I'm in. Turks and Caicos.
I know.
You can go to Grand Canyon, have fun, babe. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Right.
I'm gonna go sit on the beach. Okay, So we're going to wrap it up. And I hope you
Okay.
enjoyed hearing about 2 of our trips and
And we
our
want to
travel
thank,
tip.
I think we need to thank Susan because she kind of recommended, I mean, trips were
Yeah.
down, but she also said, hey, what about some of your trips? So thanks, Susan, for the idea. If y'all have any ideas, let us know. You can get in touch with me. You can get in touch with Betsy. Do you see what she's holding up? It's called our travel book. We have
It
a
is
lot.
our travel book.
It's a quote book.
It is. And we try and keep up with it when Betsy remembers to bring it on a trip with us. So there's that.
Yes, because it's quotes from everywhere. It's really funny to go through them.
Yes. And
Okay.
speaking of Angela, when she gets married and if she likes her husband, we will do an episode on the strategic dating plan, which is in my ultimate plan to get Angela married. So we will be talking about that.
This is what Betsy did, and she has, y'all, she's married. She's married to Sean. I think I said, nah, hell no.
No, I think you were like, yeah, I'm in for like a month. And then you were like,
yeah,
this is too much work. And I'm like,
it is. But also, a lot of work. Yeah, and we'll go into that at another episode.
Yes, that'll be another episode. So thank you.
Maybe not the next one, but another one.
No,
we don't know. We don't know what we're doing the next one yet.
We don't know yet. It might be another travel episode because we didn't even. I mean, it's really tip of the iceberg for this one.
It is. So. I also like pop culture too. You know, movies, and maybe we can do Netflix or Schitt's Creek. You know, I just love David.
Okay, I have an idea. Let's say next podcast, which will be episode 4, we do
4 people. We're on
guilty pleasure TV shows.
Oh,
our guilty pleasure TV shows. Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Stay
good.
tuned, people. That's going to be the next episode. Guilty pleasure TV shows.
good night, everyone. Good night. Mwah.